Tony's still alcoholic.
Tony!
Happy birthday to the birthday people and chip takers and new people here. Special welcome to Matt. You're the first guy I've ever heard of who made his woman his higher power in recovery. It's unbelievable. Nobody's ever done that.
And it's still sober.
Oh shit, that's true, right, 3 years. So welcome. Just a thing to mention, you know, all the people that you saw coming up, giving hugs to these guys, you take a 4-year cake, a year from now, they're all gonna be up here for you. That's what kind of fucking meeting this is. So welcome. Welcome home.
Thank you.
First off, I'd like to say thank you very much for the last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Well done.
I would be lying to say that the first response I had was like, fuck no, I don't want to do that. Right? Just like Jake. Just like anybody, right? And then, you know, like I've learned many times, you know, when I didn't want to do something, I think about it and I'm like, well, obviously that's the thing to do. And it's been a tremendous honor and privilege for sure, right, to do that. It was helpful for me. The strange thing about it was, as soon as I got my head out of my ass with the fact that I was going to do that, I thought, I know 52 different guys that have never been to this meeting or never led this meeting. And so that's what I tried to do. And so I felt if there was one thing that I did, that was it. And also, you know, I got to have, you know, 70 guys say, fuck you, every week. So that was definitely
And
good
mean
for the humility, and totally mean it, right? So save some for Jake. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. It's a great fellowship to be a part of. So I really, really do appreciate that. And I just wanted to not let that go without saying. I will definitely cherish those memories, and I'll miss sitting in that chair. For, you know, people who don't know me, the other amazing part is, how did I end up here, right? I mean, there's, you know, dozens of guys here, and I know frickin' most of them. So my sobriety date is October 10th, 2008. It's not my only one, it's the one that stuck. It's the one that I plan to keep, right? I went to more than a few, less than a dozen treatment centers. At the end, I didn't have a fucking off switch. I'm a booze and benzo guy. I lived the last 3 years of my life in and out of blackouts. That's it. The best drunk-a-law I think I've heard to date was a gal a few months ago who shared, and she was like, I was born, life happened, I'm here, right? We're not all here because, you know, everything was going fucking great, right? It was a shit show, so I'm not big on drunk-a-laws at all. But for the record, I'm pretty smart. I'm really brilliant, right? And my plan was to outsmart alcoholism, and that did not work at all. So I had to get kind of dumb, I had to get kind of humble, I had to get kind of, the biggest word was willing, for sure. And what I wanted to share tonight, you know, it's always so interesting with, oh, you know, the newcomer's most important person in the room, for sure, right? You know, coming in, I came in freaking, you know, tiles up, fucking space shuttle just, you know, burning through the atmosphere, right? And just shame-filled, guilt-ridden, train wreck fucking mess. It's no fun to come into treatment, right? Out of treatment into a meeting, just knowing that you've really totaled your life. But the thing that I've learned over 16 years is that I don't know a whole lot of stuff, right? And I'm going to tell a little story about how apparently my character defects are just buried below this really thin veneer, and they can pop out, you know, the woodwork just about at any time. So I really appreciate that I don't have to leave. I thought, you know, how long do I have to do this for? When do I graduate? When am I cured? And I thought that a lot. I did geographics on everything, meetings, treatment centers, everything throughout my whole life. And I realized when I was sitting at my bougie San Marino Stag a few years ago, and all those brilliant guys down there with big giant brains and lots of decades of sobriety were saying and doing some pretty fucking crazy shit. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. They don't have it all figured out. Oh, okay. So you never get it. You never completely get it. You always get to learn. And that was a big relief for me, because I just was non-compliant for the longest time, and it gave me a big sigh of relief. So For somebody who did not want to be here, this is pretty fucking miraculous. I wanted nothing to do with AA. I was going to do this every other way but that. And so how I found myself in the middle of the herd. I got a sponsor, I got a bunch of sponsees, I have commitments to meetings, I go to a bunch of meetings. I have more friends now in my life and better friends than ever from coming into AA. So if anybody has any questions about that, let me know. But that's what happened to me. So the story that I wanted to share was, a couple of years ago, I got involved in this, a relationship. Yeah. So I got in a relationship with a gal who's also in recovery. And so, we go down this relationship path. Now, just for the record, I've never had a successful relationship in my life, and I'm kind of old, right? So I've had a few dozen cracks at it, but never was successful at that. So the only saving grace was that we didn't pick each other. Somebody else did and said, you're two of my favorite people, you should meet. And then kind of the rest is history. And so we sort of tumbled through the universe, and here's what we've been doing for the last couple of years. There's a lot of challenges with that. There's just a lot of challenges in life. There's a lot of challenges with relationships, with family, all the rest of that stuff. Biggest challenge I have is managing my emotions. That's common. It doesn't matter whether I'm at work or whether I'm with family, I'm in a relationship, I'm in a line at the grocery store, doesn't matter. Or I'm alone in my car berating myself for some stupid thing I don't know how to do, which happens a lot, right? So we go into, we've navigated through all these things and challenges that I've learned that this is what everybody goes through. Everybody has sick parents. Everybody has financial challenges. Everybody has health problems. Everybody has all sorts of living things, job things, all those sorts of things. This is life on life's terms, right? So we've gone and navigated through those things. My life was pretty simple before I got together with this gal. And so she's got a lot of stuff going on, and that just brings its own dynamic. So I'm pretty capable. I think I can do stuff. I'm a doer. I like to fix stuff. I'm a guy, right? There's a problem. How do we fix this? What tool do we need? I can fix this. I can do this. And so I've run that for most of the time that I've been with her. And I did a really good job in the early days, dating and all the rest of that stuff and meeting nice and not just like, hey, look, there's a conference table. What was your name? Because I'd done that before. So I wanted to do this one really differently, which I did. And so, then you get that, and you get in and you're like, okay, good, now you're together and all the rest of that sort of stuff. And off you go and into life's problems. That's where you get to. So things have gotten about as dicey as they could, just with complications of things. And what was happening was we came up on the holidays.
Uh-oh.
Right? So we got the holidays coming up. The holidays usually for me aren't too triggering. Certainly not from an alcohol standpoint. Family standpoint, most of my family's been gone for decades. And so I'm, kind of alone, and I've had adopted families. That's not too tough. She came with a lot of family, and she's had some challenges with family. She's had death in her family, she's had illness in her family, she's had discord within her family. She's had a lot of difficult situations, right? She's got 3 adult kids and, trying to make shit happen. And so now here's me, right? Step nothing, right? The fuck do I know? And so they had just lost their dad 2 months before I met her. And I did not know this, getting into this. And so as I sort of learned more about that, and I saw this, I had to sort of tackle this dynamic with kind of kid gloves. So we go through that, and I'm kind of around, and they're like, okay, great, this is the next guy, right, that this is all gonna work out. Because we both admitted that our pickers, not my pecker, by the way, pickers were broken, right? We did a shitty job at choosing people. So we went through that. So now we're at this point, and I'm thinking, okay, how do I sort of not shit the bed here, right? How do I not cause a problem? My whole program for a long time, for like 3 years, was like, just don't cause a problem. Show up on time, don't cause a problem, open wallet, don't cause a problem, leave when asked, repeat, right? And that works in many, many areas. And so I was doing that, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then we really got into the heavy artillery days here with Thanksgiving and Christmas and our moms and assisted living with dementia rapidly progressing 4 blocks from our house. And I'm like, I can do all this shit. I can do all this shit. I can do this, right? I'm pretty good at most of it. And then there's, what are they called? People, right? There's people, right? There's people, there's family, there's all this stuff, right? Got two sons, daughter, one son lives with us. He's the failure to launch guy, super talented. Daughter bailed out to another city and sort of was hiding out a little bit. Elder son seems to be doing pretty cool. So they're now all around a lot this holidays, which they weren't last year. So they're all around. And I'm like, oh, they're here. Wow, gosh, I'm here too, right? How do I, I can't be like, okay, sorry, your dad died a couple years ago, but here's Grandpa Cracker, I'm like, can't really do that, right? So I'm like, shit, so how do I do this? So we navigate this whole, 30 days here of this. And I'm doing the best job that I can. But I'm going with okay, let's just not cause a problem. That's what I'm doing, right? So they're doing their thing. She's patching her relationships back together with her kids after a bunch of turmoil over the years and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'll just be over here doing my thing, right? And I'm not integrating with them enough. I'm not spending enough time with them. I'm taking care of stuff, but I'm like over there. And so I don't know what they're saying. They're sort of talking to her about stuff, which I found out later, right? They're like, gosh, he's quieter than he normally is. What's that all about, right? He doesn't seem to like watching TV. Just basic normal shit like that. And I'm in don't cause a problem mode, right? So I think I'm doing a good job. Well, what's happening, right? Well, I don't know. You crank down the fucking boiler, right? And you keep the temperature up. What's going to happen? The thing eventually is going to blow. For sure, right? So I made it all the way through, right? And I'm like, okay, we're doing pretty good. And then we go down. We brought my grandkids and my daughter together with her kids at Thanksgiving, which was like a big deal. It was like 12 people. We navigated through that. Then we went through Christmas. And then last week we went to Christmas with my grandkids again. And we pretty much just it was the last day of the holidays, and we're like, we're gonna make it through this, aren't we? Yeah, for sure we're gonna make it through that. And did a pretty doggone good job till the last hour. And then, my biggest character defect, other than self-loathing and self-destruction, is sarcasm, right? If I can't, because I'm funny, right? And I'm smart, right?
Awesome.
Okay, Neil doesn't think I am, but I do, right? But, right? I'm fucking smart. And so anyway, it just, boom, just flew. It wasn't the worst thing ever, but it was just, boom, there it was, right? So it's hanging out. And then, then the silent treatment is effective, right? And so was that. And so I'm like, okay, so now I know I've done something not great. I've grown a conscience in recovery. That's great, because I didn't have one for a long time. I didn't give a shit. Just move on to the next victim. There's plenty of them out there, right? But this is different. I care about this, and I know I've done something wrong. I know that. I don't really know what to do except not make it worse. So anyway, we're gonna get to process things differently. I just want to try and fix stuff. So anyway, so she's been really good about that. One of the things that she said, which I took, and she's got a sponsor, and she's got sponsees, and she works her program, we go to meetings all the time, we're in this. She's like, we're not always gonna be okay, and we're not always gonna do this right. And I was like, we'll go with that. Because I got no fucking answer better. And so I was like, okay, we'll go with that, right? So we get to that point, and I'm like, okay, so maybe we could talk later, right? And so she was finally ready to kind of do that without getting out the 50 cal. And so she started to tell me about what's been going on in her perception of me and her experience of me over the past few months, right? While I was trying to not cause a problem. And what happened was, apparently it was causing a problem. And I didn't know that. And what had happened was, apparently, she's like, you're not the same person that I fell in love with and that I was attracted to and that you've been for most of the time that we've been together. What happened, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I think probably there's a lot of stress and a lot of shit that's been going on that I try to think I know how to handle well, but maybe I don't, right? And so I got to that point, and so I started just acknowledging that. And of course, the first thing I said was like, I've not been the guy that you've come to know, and I can do better, and I fell short. And I really apologize for that, for doing anything that was hurtful to you. And so she started telling me her experience of me, right? And so she's like, this is really difficult to say. These are really, really challenging things. I hate telling you this, right? And I'm like, I said something I'd never said in my life, which was like, no, I really appreciate you telling me this, right? I never said that, right? My thing's always gonna be like, you're full of shit, don't you know what the fuck, don't you know who I am, don't you know what I do, don't you know how much, right, all that stuff. I didn't do any of that. I just said, and I meant it. I was really grateful for her telling me the truth, because I lie to myself all the time, even now, right? And I need that, I need you guys, I need this program, I need these tools, I need these steps, I need these principles, I need this book, I need my higher power. Because I kept looking for God, but God was not lost. And God talks to me through you guys, and God talked to me through her, right? God doesn't have a megaphone in the sky. It says, hey, Tony, you're being an asshole. That's not how it happens, right? So she said all of that stuff to me. We had a very short talk. And I was like, okay, point made, great. And then we got over it and we moved forward. And I do not know how to do that. That is very unfamiliar for me. I much prefer to go ahead and just blow shit up, because then I don't have to worry about when that's gonna happen. I make it happen so that I'm like, okay, good. Now that's done, I can't stand that tension of that something not bad might happen. I can't even fucking do that, right? So I've had a lot of experience with that, and that was very, very different for me. That's the self-destructive, self-loathing part of my disease that tells me I don't deserve a goddamn fucking thing. And that is not true. That is false. That is not true at all. So I've been through that process, and I have grown through this program, through these steps, through every tool that you guys and everybody else has shown me in here. And so what I wanted to do was, I wanted to just share that, because I'm a big fan of, like, I don't give a shit about what was going on 16, 20, 25, 6 months ago. How am I using the tools, the new toolbox, the new tools that I've gotten in the past 16 years on a daily basis to deal with living problems, life on life's terms, the week that was, all that stuff. And so what I really wanted to do was point that out. I've grown a conscience, I know what's right, I know what's wrong. I don't always know which is which. I don't always know if I'm doing right or I'm doing wrong, but I need other people like you and people who are in my life in recovery to be able to tell me that. So I really appreciate the opportunity to throw that out there. I do have a topic, which I will go ahead and toss out after the break, but I could not be, after Neil shuts his, or whoever it is. Patrick, who's the treasurer?
Hector's gonna give us the
Hector's
cash.
Hector's gonna give us the timeshare speech, and we're supposed to give him money. I think that's how it works now. New secretary, new pitch. That's not good. But see, it's like the meeting's already better since I'm not sitting in that chair. That's for damn sure. It's all true. But anyway, I really appreciate this group. I really appreciate the honesty. I really appreciate the candor, and I love all you guys. Thanks for letting me share.
Well, Johnny.